Well, hello guys, my name is Nick and today we're restoring a Corgi Toys Aston Martin DB4. I picked this car up from a yard sale. I think I paid €1 or €2 from it over a year ago, and finally it's time to get it restored. It originally was a red car. We'll see it on the inside that it's still kind of red, and some kid painted it over with yellow. Oh, an adult, that's also possible. But they got everything, the wheels, the tires, the windshield, they got everything in that horrible yellow paint. These also came out originally in yellow, so I'm not sure if someone wants to recreate the yellow one. I'm not even sure what the value is of these cars in a different colors, but it is the number 218 you can see right there. So first order of business is to drill out the 3 rivets that hold in the base. There are 2 in the back and 1 in the front. After all the rivets are drilled out, I take my handy dandy screwdriver, pry open the base, and it just releases just like that. When the front comes off, I just took a closer look at the base. It's kind of a majorette-ish design of springs. The both axles actually have a spring built in, but you cannot really take them off without drilling out one of the wheels, or taking off one of the wheels. And I'm not really sure how that's possible, to be honest. So I'm just going to leave the wheels on the model itself. Now, I didn't expect this one. This is the interior, and it is literally the cheapest and thinnest plastic I have ever seen. I think if I stare at it a little bit too vigorously, which I can really much do, it will just break in half. Next, it's time to take out the engine. As you can see, it's still red on the bottom, so that's the original color, I'm guessing. 2 rivets hold in the engine, obviously the 2 posts from the base. Just again my hand and screwdriver, and the engine just releases, and also the little spring that holds the bonnet open. It is actually a metal engine, which I wasn't really expecting. It's a really well made model, to be honest. And there you can see me trying to figure out how the bonnets will fit again when I have to reassemble this entire model. So when that is done, I take my little my drill one more time to drill out the actual windshield. Now this thing did have a crack in it. It was kind of concealed by the paint and by the A-pillar, but when I tried to release the glass, it cracked a little bit further, but it still will be probably behind the A-pillar. So these are all the parts I have from taking apart this Aston Martin, and I just love this pan over of all the parts. It looks so good. So next, for my favorite part of every restoration, it's my sandblasting cabinet. I have the bonnet, I have the base, and I have the body itself to get sandblasted. The original paint, the red, comes off, well, in a blast. The bottom of the hood just blasted right off, but the yellow that's painted on is a little bit more stubborn. Let me know if I'm wrong, by the way, because I'm pretty sure that this has been painted over by a kid, because, well, the windshield is yellow also, and I think it's supposed to be a red car. They did come out in yellow and I think grey, but I'm not really sure. Now, this is fresh out of the cabinet. There is still a lot of yellow paint left in the grill, in the cracks of the doors, in the little grills on the side, so I take my dentist pick and try to remove every single bit of paint so the primer has a nice surface to stick to the model. Speaking of primer, it's a fine surface primer by Tamiya, the stuff I always use, and I'm doing 3 coats in total, leaving between 15 to 20 minutes to dry between coats, or in my case, a month, because there's about a month between the primer step and the actual paint step, so it has a month to dry, which is pretty good if I do say so myself. And also don't forget to paint the inside. You don't really see a lot of the inside, but there is always a chance that my eye will catch something I don't really like. Obviously, we also have the hood, or the bonnet, to get the same color. And I lied, I didn't take off the paint on the other side of the bonnet. Oh well, Now for color, I used a gunmetal grey by Tamiya. I wasn't really sure what color I wanted to go, but I love Aston Martin, and I just love the grey. Not boring, but if I think about Aston Martin, this is the color I think. This is a gunmetal grey. I think it's a little bit lighter or dark, I'm not really sure, from the Aston Martin grey, but it just suits the model, and it has just the best amount of pearl in it. Doing 2 coats in total, and while the first coat is drying, I do the same with the bonnet in this office, obviously the same gunmetal grey, making sure I paint all the sides and inside the scoop. Just because if I open the bonnet, I don't want to see some white stuff still left. And there is me finishing off the body itself. Obviously, I'm not going to show the entire process because that would just, well, be boring for you guys. So, next, while that is drying, I go on to the interior. I don't really like the, well, the cheap plastic yellowish interior, so I decided to go with a nice red leather interior. Obviously, a lot of fasting forward to do because this will take a while. And while that is drying, I focus my attention to the model itself. It is off camera, there it is. I painted in the rear lights because I really enjoy, well, putting on these fine little details. Normally I would put on door handles in grey and the grille and the headlights and everything under the sun. But because, well, it already is gunmetal grey, I didn't really... Well, I didn't really know what the color to paint the headlights, the grille, so I just didn't really bother. Off camera, when the entire video is done, but literally 5 minutes ago, I did paint the grille in a little bit of a darker gray, but I do still believe it looks way better without the grille and headlights painted. So I'm going to show you the car with the grille and headlights just in the same gunmetal gray. The blinkers went on, and next it's time to put on the number plates. Obviously I don't have stickers and I'm going to put an actual number plate on it, but I just want to paint the front and the back number plate white so they stick out a little bit more from the car. Because, well, why white? I'm not really sure. I didn't really want to put yellow on for the number plates because that would stick out a little bit too much, and black also would kind of ruin the lines for me because I like them in white. Sorry. Next, it's time for the base. I did manage to remove every single bit of yellow paint from the wheels, which took quite a while, but then I take my silver paint from the Action, from, well, the kind of Euro dollar store in Belgium, and get them in that nice silver paint, so I actually chromed out the base. Next, it's the atrocious windshield. There's just so much paint on it. And now you have to go wet sanding 2000, 4000, then polishing, then this. I don't have that. It's especially during the lockdown, I just don't have that. So I just decided to go nuts with it, polish it for about 15 minutes, and I got almost everything off except the really deep scratches. Next, I try to save the wheels, try to clean them because I like originality, but they were just cracked, they were not good at all, so I take my bag of new wheels, well, tires, and take out 4, so I have some nice new rubber on this car, so this can peel out of my garage and leave a nice trail, a nice 11, because, well, obviously, you're going to do a burnout with this car, it's an Aston Martin. So next, the reassembly. First, the windshield snaps into place, then well, actually, that isn't really it's been a month since taking this thing apart, and I didn't really bother painting the underside of the engine because you will never ever see this. I was thinking about detailing the engine, but it's just such a lovely looking engine, I just didn't really want to ruin it by putting some gold accents, black accents on it. It just looks so good. Next, the fresh rubber wheels, tires go on the wheels. 3 out of the 4 go on relatively easily, but the 4th one just gave me a little bit of a struggle. Especially because I'm stupid. I should have put them in some really hot water so the rubber would soften a little bit, but oh well, that's the more you know for next time. This is being the 4th wheel that I have to swear, and it pops right on. Next, when the engine, well, I actually had to glue it in place because you cannot really put a self-tapping screw there because you will go through the actual wings of the car. The nice interior goes into place, and last but not least, the base plate just snaps back into place. Now at this point, off camera, I drilled out some pilot holes, put a self-tapping screw into the model so it can be easily taken apart again in the past. And I obviously had to use a spacer thingy-majig, so my screw was a little bit too small, I guess. So this is it before the restoration. Yellow, horrible, mismatched paint, a horrible interior, and obviously, well, it wasn't really worth being on my shelf, but I'm proud to present you the car after the restoration right here. It's nice and grey. Like I said, at this point the grille is painted, but I just love the way it looks right here. Please leave a like, subscribe, and hope to see you in the future restoration. Bye.